skin looks impeccable. Okay, I know that there's a lot of lighting situation going on right now, but can we thank God for good genetics? My name is ezinnetheceo. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, I need you to do that right now. Like right now. Yeah. For today's tutorial, we're working on the eyebrows. Okay, so this is going to be a complete brow tutorial, a full brow tutorial, detailed with precision. Okay, all the products used in this video are going to be listed down in the description box as always. Yes, they are affiliate links, so that means if you shop with the link, I do get a commission. Let's get into it. First thing to note when doing brows, to get the best snatched, perfect arch brow look, your brows should be trimmed, waxed, threaded. Personally, I like brow threading the most. It hurts the most, but it lasts the longest and looks the best. Right now my brows actually aren't done. It's been a little while, a few weeks since I waxed them, but I'm still going to show you guys how to get a good brow, even if you haven't had your brows done. But then again, my brow hairs aren't that thick. If you know you have really bushy brows, then yes, obtaining brows that are like super perfect might be a little harder, but nevertheless, let's get into it. So personally, before I get into the brows, I do like to moisturize. That's optional, because sometimes the moisturizer can get into the brows and then it's like the brows start to get oily, and that doesn't really work well for everybody. So you can do your brows first and then apply your moisturizers and your primers. When we're getting into the brows themselves, the first thing that I like to do is to lay my brows down. Lay them down and lock them into place. If it's like a real serious beat, sometimes I'll go in with a clear brow gel. Now I know what some people are gonna say, but when you lay your brows down with a clear brow gel, there's a way that you can, especially if your brows aren't done, there's a way that you can manipulate the brows just with less effort, right? But on a normal day, I'll take something like the Got To Be brow gel. Now this can be found at Ulta. I actually got this from the TikTok shop, but I believe it can be found at Ulta. I believe it can be found at like Target and other stores like that. I'll take the brow gel, and what I'm doing is I'm brushing the brow hairs up and away from my face, up and away. The reason for doing that is so that the brow hairs can be laid down and so that I can see my brow bone when it's time to lay the concealer down. While the brow gel is on, I like to let it dry down a little bit, because you don't want to put brow pencil and brow pomade mixed in with wet brow gel. So let that dry down. So for the next few steps, you're gonna have a few things ready: your brow pencil, your brow pomade, and the brush used to apply the brow pomade. Now when it comes to the brow, naturally, yes, ladies like to find a brow pencil or brow pomade that matches the natural color of their brows or their hair. You can also match your brows to the color of your hair. So if you're a ginger, sometimes gingers like to use, gingers also means redhead, so sometimes gingers like to use brow pomades that match the color of their hair. If you have a cooler undertone in your hair, blonde, so on and so forth, sometimes, yes, ladies will like to match their brows to their hair. I personally, because my hair, the hair on my head and like and the rest of my body is literally black, like pure black, I don't really like how it looks, and I feel like it doesn't fit my face and it doesn't fit the vibe that I'm trying to go for. So I'll normally use a brow pencil that's about 3 shades lighter, 2 to 3 shades lighter, and that has a cooler undertone, because I prefer a brighter brow look. Not necessarily a bleached brow, but just a brow that looks more like effortless. so to say. First thing I'm going to take is my brow pencil, and this is just like a $1 brow pencil from Temu. You can use brow pencils from, in my opinion, you can use brow pencils from any brand. LA Pro Girl, Anatasia, Beverly Hills. Benefit Brow has really great brow pencils. They are on the pricier side, and from my experience, brow pencils run out super fast to continuously be buying a $24 brow pencil, but whatever floats your boat, honestly. What I do is I start from what I say like a quarter after the front of my brow towards the back. Reason being is that you don't want a whole bunch of product filled in the front of your brow. Your brows are going to look boxy, no doubt about it. Your brows are going to look boxy if you start from the front. So what you want to do is start from like right here and make your way to the back. Now the tail end of your brow should not go past like where basically like your eyeball ends, if that makes sense. So for me, the tail end of my brow shouldn't be longer than right where I'm placing the pencil, right? And that goes for both ends. So if you're ever looking for a measurement, you feel like your brows are too long or too short, your brows shouldn't be any shorter or any longer than right here. Naturally, the face already kind of gives you the dimensions and the measurements of which to place everything. Makeup should mimic your natural dimensions. It shouldn't surpass it, and it shouldn't make you look weird. If my brows were to come all the way down here, it will be strange because nobody's brow really passes the tail end of their eye, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the brow pencil and I'm basically filling in where I'm lacking brow hair, but you also want it to be even. And as I'm filling in, I'm brushing the product through. When you get to the front of your brow, what you're going to do is create a faint line at the bottom towards the front, and then you're going to do little flickers upwards. Or let's say if you don't have that much of an arch, or your brow bone isn't as high as you would like it to be, what you can do is take the pencil and take it a little further up, so it's almost like when you go in with the concealer, you'll have a higher arch of a brow. My brows are now filled in with the pencil. The pomade honestly is optional. I like it for a fuller brow look, but if I was doing like a quick 15-minute makeup look, I would actually leave my brows like this, conceal them, and then go about the next step. But for the sake of the video, I will show you what it looks like with the pomade. I take my Anatasia Beverly Hills pomade in the shade Soft Brown. So open that. I take it's like a thin angled brush. I dip that in there. It really doesn't have to be much. But the thing with brow pomade, a little bit goes a long way. Taking that, again, middle towards the end. You can still take the spoolie end of your eyebrow pencil and brush it through. Brows are filled in. Next is concealer. What I like to do is take a concealer that's almost color correcting, especially if I know that I'm doing eyeshadow. Something like the shade Suede in the LA Pro Girl Conceal. But for the sake of this video, I'll use something closer to my skin tone. So I'm going to go in with the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Deep Golden 53G. Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. I take this is a different angled flat brush. This one is even thinner than the one that I use for my pomade. So that's the shape of it, right? As flat as possible, so that my brows can be arched and snatched. Okay, if you take a brush, I know sometimes, I've seen brushes like this one being used. The thing about it, I feel brushes like this can be used, but the bristles tend to get separated throughout time, and in my opinion, it's just way too thick, and it's gonna make you put on way more concealer underneath your eyes than you would need. So my recommendation, my pro anyway recommendation, is to get a flat, thin brush, as so. So I'll take my concealer and I'll put it on the back of my hand. If it's me, if it's on a client, of course, I'll have my mixing palette, but it's just me. Starting from the middle again, heading towards the back, and then I'll go to the front. I do like to raise my brow a little bit just so I can basically see the whole of my eye and make sure that I'm getting perfect snatched brow. To conceal under your eyes, you don't want to use a concealer that is too light coverage, because you do want to be able to conceal some hairs if you need to. So generally, I do like to move it down a little bit to cover some hyperpigmentation. But as I'm moving towards the front, I'm doing light strokes. And the beautiful thing about it is you can conceal as much as you need to. If you need to take it higher up towards the brow bone, you can do that as well. So the thing with brows, I know sometimes we like to get our brows to look like identical twins, but it doesn't necessarily always have to be like that. Your brows could be like sisters, fraternal twin sisters. Okay, they don't necessarily need to be identical twins. Sometimes your brows might even look a little strange if they're like too identical. If that makes sense. All right, so what I'll do after I have concealed underneath, I'll take something like a concealer brush or an eyeshadow brush. This is the Absolute Shadow Brush from It Cosmetics, and I'll start blending. When it comes to the front part of my brow, what I like to do is just buff it, and I will do like an upwards motion to get that tapered look in the front. But I'm raising my brow and I'm blending. And because I want that coverage for eyeshadow as well, I do like to blend it like onto my eye. I don't necessarily blend all the concealer that's like right underneath there. The whole point is to conceal those brow hairs and give me an arched brow look. So if I blend too much, it's gonna take that away. Same thing with the other side. Blend. Another trick you can do if you want it to get the front of your brow more of like a tapered, faded look, you can take that concealer brush and just make little lines in front. Lightly. You want to do this lightly and gently because you don't want to take off too much product. You just want your brows to look a little faded. And if anything comes off, always feel free to go back in with your pencil or your pomade. Now for the top of the brow, right? I would not use the bottom brow concealer on the top. The reason being is we all know 2016 makeup, everybody had, well, maybe not everybody, majority of us had halo brows. That comes from putting concealer that is way too light on the top of your brow, and it creates that halo effect. I'll insert a picture somewhere, probably here, so you guys can understand what I'm saying. Now, the trick to combat that is to take the foundation that you're going to use all over your face to draw the top of your brow. Now, if this was a look that you were doing and you didn't want to wear foundation all over your face, like you just wanted to do your brows and get out the house, you could leave it like this, or you have to make sure that your foundation is literally your exact skin shade so that nobody can tell. So I'm going to go in with my foundation. This is a foundation from Be Charm Ageless Cosmetics. It says a skin tint, but it also says matte foundation, so it's a little bit of both. Taking that, again, it's on the back of my hands. I'm going to go in with my brush. Now for the top of the brow, I don't mind starting at the front. So I'll take that and I basically arch out the top of my brow. And that's what that looks like. So yes, this is a foundation I will put all over my face. Basically, the shape I'm making is like straight across. When I get to my arch, I leave room for that little like hump, if you want to call it. So I'll go like this, arch, and then come back down to my tail. Again, we're making sure that our tail is not too long. So you want to make sure that it closes off right diagonal to where your eye ends. With that concealer brush, and blend that out. Now, because the foundation is my skin color, no halo brow, no halo brow, and I have beautiful, flawless brows. If I wanted to highlight my brows a little more, I would go in with a concealer such as 47 Tan Deep Sand from Tarte. And I would just put a little bit of that on my brow bone. Take the concealer brush, blend it out to look more defined. The other side. Now, this is a brow look that I believe can go for every day. If you wanted it to be heavier, full glam, you can add more pomade. You can exaggerate your arches a little bit more to get a full glam look. But essentially, this is the brow tutorial. You guys can see what it looks like when I do my full face. So off camera, I did put on a little bit of makeup, a little foundation, bronzer, blush, just so you guys can get a visual of what your brows look like with a full face. And so there we are, as you can see. Thank you so much for watching. Again, like, comment, most importantly, subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification bell so you can be notified every single time that I post. Also, let me know in the comment section what tutorial you want to see next. Is it lip combos? Do you guys want to see eyeshadow tutorials? Full face? Tell me what you want to see. Let me know. Talk to your girl. Also follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Yeah, just keep in a loop. I would love to hear, and see you guys soon.